स्वरूपज्ञानं निर्विकल्पकरूपं यदस्ति तत्कारणशरीरम्। अवस्थात्रयं किं? जाग्रत् स्वप्न सुषुप्त्यवस्थाः। जाग्रदवस्था क्या का? श्रोत्रादिज्ञानेन्द्रियैः शब्दादिविषयैश्च ज्ञायते इति यत् सा जाग्रदावस्था। स्थूलशरीराभिमानी आत्मा विश्व इति उच्यते। स्वप्नावस्था केति चेत् जाग्रदवस्थायां यद्दृष्टं यच्छ्रुतं तज्जन्यतवासनया निद्रासमये यः प्रपञ्चः प्रतीयते सा स्वप्नावस्था। सूक्ष्मशरीराभिमानी आत्मा तैजस इति उच्यते। अतः सुषुप्त्यवस्था का? अहं किमपि न जानामि, सुखेन मया निद्रानुभूयत इति सुषुप्त्यवस्था। कारणशरीराभिमानी आत्मा प्राज्ञ इति उच्यते। पंचकोशाः के? अन्नमयः, प्राणमयः, मनोमयः, विज्ञानमयः, आनन्दमयश्चेति। अन्नमयः कः? अन्नरसेनैव भूत्वा अन्नरसेनैव वृद्धिं प्राप्य अन्नरूपपृथिव्यां यद्विलीयते तदन्नमयः कोशः स्थूलशरीरम्। प्राणमयः कः? प्राणाद्याः पञ्चवायवः वागादीन्द्रियपञ्चकं प्राणमयः कोशः। मनोमयः कोशः कः? मनश्च ज्ञानेन्द्रियपञ्चकं मिलित्वा यो भवति स मनोमयः कोशः। विज्ञानमयः कः? बुद्धिज्ञानेन्द्रियपञ्चकं मिलित्वा यो भवति स विज्ञानमयः कोशः। आनन्दमयः कः? एवमेव कारणशरीरभूता विद्यास्तमलिनसत्त्वं प्रियादिवृत्तिसहितं सत् आनन्दमयः कोशः। एतत् कोशपञ्चकम्। मदीयं शरीरं मदीयाः प्राणाः मदीयं मनश्च मदीया बुद्धिर्मदीयम् अज्ञानमिति स्वेनैव ज्ञायते तद्यथा मदीयत्वेन ज्ञातं कटककुण्डलगृहादिकं स्वस्माद् भिन्नं तथा पञ्चकोशादिकं स्वस्माद् भिन्नं मदीयत्वेन ज्ञातमात्मा न भवति। आत्मा तर्हि कः? सच्चिदानन्दस्वरूपः। सत् किं? कालत्रयेऽपि तिष्ठतीति सत्। चित् किं? ज्ञानस्वरूपः। आनन्दः कः? सुखस्वरूपः। एवं सच्चिदानन्दस्वरूपं स्वात्मानं विजानीयात्। अथ चतुर्विंशतितत्त्वोत्पत्तिप्रकारं वक्ष्यामः। ब्रह्माश्रया सत्त्वरजस्तमो गुणात्मिका माया अस्ति। ततः आकाशः सम्भूतः, आकाशाद् वायुः, वायोस्तेजः, तेजस् आपः, अम्धयः, अब्धयः, पृथिवी। एतेषां पञ्चतत्त्वानां मध्ये आकाशस्य सात्विकांशात् श्रोत्रेन्द्रियं सम्भूतं, वायोः सात्विकांशात् त्वगिन्द्रियं सम्भूतम्, अग्नेः सात्विकांशात् चक्षुरिन्द्रियं सम्भूतं, जलस्य सात्विकांशात् रसनेन्द्रियं सम्भूतं, पृथिव्याः सात्विकांशात् घ्राणेन्द्रियं सम्भूतम्। एतेषां पञ्चतत्त्वानां समष्टिसात्विकांशात् मनो बुद्ध अहङ्कारचित्तान्तः करणानि सम्भूतानि। संकल्पविकल्पात्मकं मनः, निश्चयात्मिका बुद्धिः, अहं कर्ता अहङ्कारः, चिन्तनकर्तृ चित्तं, मनसो देवता चन्द्रमाः, बुद्धे ब्रह्मा, अहङ्कारस्य रुद्रः, चित्तस्य वासुदेवः। एतेषां पञ्चतत्त्वानां मध्ये आकाशस्य राजसांशात् वागीन्द्रियं सम्भूतं, वायोः राजसांशात् पाणीन्द्रियं सम्भूतं, वह्नेः राजसांशात् पादेन्द्रियं सम्भूतम्, वह्नेः राजसांशात् पादेन्द्रियं सम्भूतं, जलस्य राजसांशात् उपस्थेन्द्रियं सम्भूतं, पृथिव्या राजसांशात् गुदेन्द्रियं सम्भूतम्, एतेषां समष्टिराजसांशात् पञ्चप्राणाः सम्भूताः। पञ्चीकृतपञ्चतत्त्वानि भवन्ति। पञ्चीकरणं कथम् इति चेत् एतेषां पञ्चमहाभूतानां तामसांशस्वरूपम् एकमेकं भूतं द्विधा विभज्य एकमेकमर्धं पृथक् तूष्णीं व्यवस्थाप्य अपरमपरमर्धं चतुर्धां विभज्य स्वाधर्मण्येषु अर्धेषु स्वभागचतुष्टयसंयोजनं कार्यं तदा पञ्चीकरणं भवति। एतेभ्यः पञ्चीकृतपञ्चमहाभूतेभ्यः स्थूलशरीरं भवति। एवं पिण्डब्रह्माण्डयोरैक्यं सम्भूतम्। स्थूलशरीराभिमानी जीवनात्मा स्थूलशरीराभिमानी जीवनामकं ब्रह्मप्रतिबिम्बं भवति। स एव जीवः प्रकृत्या स्वस्मात् ईश्वरं भिन्नत्वेन जानाति। अविद्योपाधिः सन आत्मा जीव इति उच्यते। मायोपाधिः सन ईश्वर इति उच्यते। एवं उपाधिभेदात् जीवेश्वरभेददृष्टिः यावत्पर्यन्तं तिष्ठति तावत्पर्यन्तं जन्ममरणादिरूपसंसारो न निवर्तते। तस्मात् कारणान् न जीवेश्वरयोर्भेदबुद्धिः स्वीकार्या। तस्मात् कारणान् न जीवेश्वरयोर्भेदबुद्धिः स्वीकार्या। I think we did till here. Yeah. Should we kindly guide me whether I should repeat the Rajas aspect or we can go to the Tamas aspect of evolution? Brahmaraji, if she's there, kindly guide me.
Yeah, I think we discussed Rajas in detail yesterday, no?
Okay, so tamasic aspect, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Dhanyavad. The evolution of the tamasic aspect. एतेषां पञ्चतत्त्वानां तामसांशात् पञ्चीकृतपञ्चतत्त्वानि भवन्ति। पञ्चीकरणं कथम् इति चेत् एतेषां पञ्चमहाभूतानां तामसांशस्वरूपम् एकमेकं भूतं द्विधा विभज्य एकमेकमर्ध पृथक् तूष्णीं व्यवस्थाप्य अपरमपरमर्ध चतुर्धा विभज्य स्वार्धर्मण्येषु अर्धेषु स्वभागचतुष्टयसंयोजनं कार्यं तदा पञ्चीकरणं भवति। एतेभ्यः पञ्चीकृतपञ्चमहाभूतेभ्यः स्थूलशरीरं भवति। एतेषां of these panchatattvanam of the five elements, tamasashat from the tamas aspect, Panchikruta Panchatatvani, grossified 5 elements, bhavanti, are formed. Panchikaranam, Panchikaranam, Katham, how, iti chet, if asked, etesham, of these, Panchamahabhutanam, of the 5 elements, Tamasash Swarupam, from the Tamas aspect, Ekam Ekabhutam, each element, Dvidha Vibhajya, divides into 2 equal parts, Ekam Ekam each half, Pruthak, separate, Tushnim Vyavasthapya, remains intact, Aparam Ardham, each other half, Chaturdha Vibhajya, divides into 4 equal parts, Swardham, intact half, Anyeshu Ardheshu, to the other half, Swabhaga Chatushtaya Sanyojanam Karyam, 1/8 portion gets joined. Tada, then, Panchikaranam bhavati, happens. Etebhya, from these, Panchikruta Panchamahabhutebhya, the grossified 5 elements, Sthula Shariram, the gross body, bhavati, is formed. Etesham Panchatattvanam Tamasashat Panchikruta Panchatatvani bhavanti. Panchikaranam katham iti chet etesham Panchamahabhutanam Tamasash Swarupam Ekamekabhutam Dvidha Vibhajya Ekamekamardham Pruthak Tushnim Vyavasthapya Aparam Chaturdha Vibhajya Swardham Anyeshu Ardheshu Swabhaga Chatushthaya Sanyojanam Karyam Tada Panchikaranam Bhavati. Etebhya Panchikruta Panchamahabhutebhya Sthula Shariram Bhavati. From the tamas aspect of these 5 elements, the grossified 5 elements are born. If it is asked how this Panchikarana takes place, it is as follows. The tamas aspect of each of the 5 elements divides into 2 equal parts. 1/2 of each remains intact. Kindly have the observation in the table as well. The other half of each gets divided into 4 equal parts. Then, to the intact half of one element, 1/8 portion from each of the other 4 elements gets joined. Then Panchikarana is complete. From these 5 grossified elements, the gross body is formed. So the tamas aspect of each of the 5 elements is first divided into 2 equal parts. Then 1/2 of each element, it remains intact, and the other half it gets divided into 4 equal parts. So from space, the half, then from 1/8 of air, 1/8 of fire, 1/8 of water, and 1/8 of earth. From the air element, again half remains intact, and from that another half, 1/8 space, 1/8 fire, 1/8 water, and 1/8 earth. In the same way, for the fire element also, the half remains intact, and from the other half, 1/8 space, 1/8 air, 1/8 water, 1/8 earth. For the water element also, the half remains intact, and from the other half, 1/8 space, 1/8 air, 1/8 fire, 1/8 earth. And from the earth element, one half remains intact, and from the other half, 1/8 space, 1/8 air, 1/8 fire, and 1/8 water makes the gross body. If I am wrong, kindly correct me in interpreting the table. So that is the tamas aspect of the subtle elements or formation of our gross body.
What happens is the gross space element, the gross fire, water, that is what is made from here. The gross body is again a combination of these five tamasic aspects of the five elements. So this Panchikaranam is of the grossification of the five elements. The visible water, visible earth, visible space is what is this combination, this Panchikaranam.
Okay.
The Sthula Shariram is again a manifestation. It's a byproduct of these five um, tamas aspects.
Hmm. Then there are different stages. In the first stage, the tanmatras, each in itself, from the space, air, fire, water, and earth. In the second stage, each element, its tendency to divide into two equal parts. In the third stage, the split complete into two equal halves, and from the one half remaining intact, the other splits into four from each element it takes. And then each half married with four bits borrowed from all others. That is in the final stage. What is the difference between the fourth and the fifth stage? Brahmaraji, I am not able to get it. One half remaining intact, the other splits into four. And then the 1/8, okay. That is here 1/8.
Yeah, it is 1/8 of all the other elements come in.
Mm-hmm. So shall I go further? Anyone wants to have any clarification for the grossification of these elements? Yeah. Tamoguna is characterized by inertia, that which cannot know itself or illumine another is inert. That which cannot activate itself is inert. The tamasic aspect of the five elements together undergo the process of grossification as explained in the chart 1 and 2. In the chart 1 and 2. By their mutual intermingling, each element thereafter has 50% of its own element and 12.5% of each of the other four. Therefore, each of the gross elements has the qualities of all the others. These elements can thereafter be perceived by the senses. The permutation and combination of these forms the gross world, including the gross body. The vegetable you eat has starch, proteins, chemicals, earth, water content, its own heat, air, and occupies space. Even though water in its purest form is supposed to be tasteless, colorless, and odorless, we know that seawater tastes salty, appears blue, and has a distinct smell. Our own body occupies space. We have plenty of air within us. The body has heat and more than half of it is made up of water. There is the earth food element, which makes up most of its weight. The gross body cannot function without the subtle body. When the subtle body leaves the gross body disintegrates and goes back to the five gross elements. As all gross bodies have the same gross elements, no gross body can claim to be superior to another. All differences at the gross level are superficial. If this is understood, then all conflicts due to caste, creed, color, sex, etc. would end. The relationship of the individual with the total is now explained. So I repeat this takeaway line, the last paragraph. The gross body cannot function without the subtle body. When the subtle body leaves the gross body disintegrates and goes back
Excuse me,
to the five.
Biology, can you read from the previous paragraph, please? I know you're reading gross body. Can you read, please?
Yeah, you mean
Yeah,
from the.
no, the vegetable. The
Okay,
last.
okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. The vegetable you eat has starch, proteins, chemicals, earth, water content, its own heat, air, and occupies space. Even though water in its purest form is supposed to be tasteless, colorless, and odorless, we know that seawater tastes salty, appears blue, and has a distinct smell. Our own body occupies space. We have plenty of air within us. The body has heat, and more than half of it is made up of water. There is the earth food element, which makes up most of its weight. Any any discussion on this? So about each element is different when it is like
Yeah,
it's.
that. Yeah, basically, I wanted to see how they explaining each elements give rise to our body. Like. Yeah, so that the vegetables, they come from the earth and the water, and then the body itself makes heat, has heat more than half of its water, and that's how the body grows. So they talked about the tamas aspect of the five elements, right? So then how these five elements plays the role in terms of our gross body to grow or develop in the first place. So that's what this information I thought I'd read that one more time. Thank you. This fine.
Actually, if you go back to the definition of Stula Shariram, it is Anna Rasenaiva Vriddhim Prapya. Anna, it is all about Anna Rasa. It is all about food. It is sustained, it grows with food and it's sustained by food. So this explains how the gross body is a permutation combination of the grossified 5 elements. Which is apart from the Sthula Sharira, the Sukshma Sharira. Sukshma Sharira again is a manifestation of both the sattvic and rajasic aspects of the 5 elements.
The good thing is here, each element, even though the space, with the tamasic aspect, because of the grossification, it has all the 5 elements in every one of them. So it's
Yeah.
not one specific one who makes this notes, or one going to make your thing. It's generally it grows, right? That's what it meant. That all the space, earth, water, they combine all that together.
The water in which the place where it means so much deep is like the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat. So beautiful it is. Yeah, shall I read further? Okay.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hariom Belaji.
Yeah.
What was that fifth in the chart? Fifth, you were asking, no? What difference between fourth and fifth? Like, what is
here it was the
half
fourth
merit?
stage. These are the stages, no?
Yeah, the fifth one is like what? I did
It
not
is
understand.
1/8. It is again
No,
from
it's
each.
written and married with 4 bits borrowed from all others. What is that borrowed from all others?
That is the 1/8 portion. Just a minute, I'll just move little here. See, I will once again read the tamas aspect of each of the 5 elements divided into 2 equal. One half of each remain intact. The other half of each gets divided into 4. Then to the intact half of one element, 1/8 portion from each of the other 4 elements gets shown.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The gross body cannot function without the subtle body. When the subtle body leaves the gross body disintegrates and goes back to the 5 gross elements. As all gross bodies have the same gross elements, no gross body can claim to be superior to another. All differences at the gross level are superficial. If this is understood, then all conflicts due to caste, creed, color, sex, etc. would end. The relationship of the individual with the total is now explained. Evam pinda brahmandayoraikyam sambhutam. Evam, in this way, pinda brahmandayoho, of the microcosm and macrocosm. Aikyam, identity. Sambhutam is established. Evam pinda brahmandayoho aikyam sambhutam. Thus, there is identity between the microcosm and the macrocosm. The part is never separate from the whole. It is always inherent in the whole. Minus a single part, the whole is not complete, therefore not whole. The individual subtle body is made from the total subtle elements, not remaining separate from them. That is, the individual mind is part of the total mind. Similarly, the individual gross body is made from the total gross elements. Therefore, the individual gross body, Pindanda, is part of the total gross body, Brahmanda. Also, the original cause of the total gross and subtle elements is the truth, the pure self. The cause pervades the effects. Therefore, in essence, there is identity between the individual and the total. The waves are only parts of the ocean in terms of name and form, but with respect to their essence, the water, they are one. This essential oneness is further explained. If you want me to repeat, just let me know. I think the last paragraph I'll repeat once again. The individual subtle body is made from the total subtle elements, not remaining separate from them. That is, the individual mind is part of the total mind. Similarly, the individual gross body is made from the total gross elements. Therefore, the individual gross body, Pindanda, is part of the total gross body, Brahmanda. Also, the original cause of the total gross and subtle elements is the truth, the pure self. The cause pervades the effects. Therefore, in essence, there is identity between the individual and the total. The waves are only part of the ocean in terms of name and form, but with respect to their essence, the water, they are one. This essential oneness is further explained. Jiva and Ish.
Sorry, Bela, can you just repeat that part where it talks of the self?
Yeah,
Somewhere in the middle of the paragraph.
yeah. The Pinda is part of the total gross body, Brahmanda. Also, the original cause of the total gross and subtle elements is the truth, the pure self.
Can you repeat that one more time? Repeat that again.
Yeah. You mean only that line?
Yes. Yes. Just do it a little slowly, huh?
Yeah. Also, the original cause of the total gross and subtle elements is the truth, the pure self. The cause pervades the effects. Therefore, in essence, there is identity between the individual and the total. So beautiful.
Yeah, because the original cause is Brahma, right? Brahmashraya Maya. So that the cause pervades the effects. And the effects are what we see as the Stula Sukshma Karana Shariras, all the Rajasic, Sattvic, and the Tamasic aspects of the five elements. So that is the individual gross body is the Pindanda, and the total gross body is the Brahmanda.
That is why that yat pinde tat
Tad
brahmande.
Brahmande. Yes. Very beautiful derivation. Yeah.
Mhm. I think we should remember this line, what you told, to repeat. The original cause of the total gross and subtle element is the truth, the pure self. Mm. The cause
So
pervades.
this actually is a very beautiful statement for this whole paragraph is for reflection and understanding the
Mhm.
oneness between amongst everyone and
Jiva and Ishvara. Mhm.
Jiva Ishvara.
Mhm.
Very beautiful. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Therefore, in essence, there is identity between the individual and the total. The waves are only part of the ocean in terms of name and form, but with respect to their essence, the water, they are one. This essential oneness is further explained. Jiva and Ishvara. Sthula Sharirabhimani Jivanamakam Brahma Pratibhimbam Bhavati. So nice. Sthula Sharirabhimani Jivanamakam Brahma Pratibhimbam Bhavati. Sa eva jivaha prakrutya swasmat Ishwaram bhinnatvena janati. Avidyopadhihi sana atma jiva iti uchyate. Mayopadhihi sana Ishwara iti uchyate.
Sorry, Jai Gurudev Bila.
Yeah.
It is sun. Sun is it is half na. So it is
Yeah,
not
Shatu
na.
Pratyay, sun.
It is sun. Okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sun.
Thank
Kshamyata. Sun. Yeah. Avidyopadhihi san. San. Sun. Okay. Avidyopadhihi san atma jiva iti uchyate. Mayopadhihi san Ishwara iti uchyate. एवं उपाधिभेदात् जीवेश्वरभेददृष्टिः यावत् पर्यन्तं तिष्ठति तावत् पर्यन्तं जन्ममरणादिरूपसंसारो न निवर्तते तस्मात् कारणात् न जीवेश्वरयोर्भेदबुद्धिः स्वीकार्या. Sthula Sharirabhimani, one who identifies with the gross body. Jiva Namakam, called the Jiva. Brahma Pratibhimbam, reflection of Brahman, truth. Bhavati is. Sah, that. Eva, alone. Jivaha, Jiva. Prakrutya, by nature. Swasmat, from himself. Ishwaram, the Lord, Bhinnatvena, as different, Janati, knows, Avidyopadhihi, son, conditioned by ignorance, Atma, the self, Ishvara, Ishvara, Ityuchyate, is called. Evam, in this way, Upadhi Bhedat, due to difference in conditionings, Jiveshwara Bheda Drishti, the vision of difference between Jiva and Ishvara, Yavat Paryantam, as long as Tishtati, remain, Tavat Paryantam, so long, Janma Maranadi Rupa Samsara, Samsara, which is of the nature of birth, death, etc., na nivartate, is not removed. Tasmat karanat, for that reason, Jiveshwarayoho, of Jiva and Ishvara, Bheda Buddhi, difference, na svikarya, should not be accepted. Sthula Sharirabhimani, Jivanamakam, Brahma Pratibhimbam, Bhavati, स एव जीवः प्रकृत्या स्वस्मात् ईश्वरं भिन्नत्वेन जानाति अविद्योपाधिः सन् आत्मा ईश्वर इति उच्यते। एवं उपाधिभेदात् जीवेश्वर भेद दृष्टि यावत् पर्यन्तं तिष्ठति तावत् पर्यन्तं जन्म मरणादि रूप संसार न निवर्तते। तस्मात् कारणात् जीवेश्वरयोः भेद बुद्धि न स्वीकार्या। The reflection of Brahman, which identifies itself with the gross body, is called the Jiva. This Jiva, by nature, takes Ishvara to be different from himself or herself. The self conditioned by ignorance, Maya, is called Ishvara. I repeat, I think the self conditioned by ignorance, Maya, is called Ishvara so long as the notion that the Jiva and Ishvara are different remains. I think I'm reading wrong. The self conditioned by Maya is called Ishvara. Okay. But due to avidya, we think it is different. Okay. I read once again. The reflection of Brahman, which identifies itself with the gross body, is called the Jiva. This Jiva, by nature, takes Ishvara to be different from himself or herself. The self, conditioned by ignorance, Maya, is called Ishvara. So long as the notion that the Jiva and Ishvara are different remains, which is due to the difference in the conditioning, till then there is no redemption from samsara, which is of the form of repeated birth, death, etc. Due to that reason, the notion that the Jiva is different from Ishvara should not be accepted. Yeah, so as long as that avidya avarana is there, we continue to this janma maran, punarapi janama, punarapi maran. Yeah, I think as we read ahead, if you want me to repeat, just let me know. It will be clearer once we read ahead, right? Brahman, the total truth, is Brahman, the truth, Kshamyata. Brahman, the truth is infinite. It wields its inherent creative power, the total conditioning Maya, to appear as the world of things and beings. The truth with the conditioning of Maya is called Ishvara. He is the creator, sustainer, and destroyer of the world. He is all powerful, Sarva Shaktiman, all knowledgeable, Sarvagnyah, and all pervading, Sarvavyapi, as he is both the material and efficient cause of the world. Ishvara always knows his true nature and does not get overpowered by Maya. He remains in full control of it and is thus called Mayapati. His Maya is predominantly sattvic and therefore does not bind. So when one takes refuge in him, we get liberated from Maya. Mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam taranti te. Kindly correct my pronunciation. Mameva ye prapadyante mayam mayam etam taranti te. Is it
Oh, it is
Maya?
right. Mayam is correct. You chanted well. Yeah.
Mayam etam taranti te.
Mayam etam tarantite.
Mamevo ye prapyanti. Mayam etam taranti te. Yeah. The same infinite truth when we wielding or wielding, I think the same infinite truth when wielding. Is it wielding or wielding?
It doesn't matter. It's fine. Wielding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When wielding the individual conditioning, avidya is called jiva avidya, being predominantly tamasic and of the nature of ignorance. It binds the jiva. I read once again this line. The same infinite truth when wielding the individual conditioning, avidya is called jiva. Avidya being predominantly tamasic and of the nature of ignorance, it binds the jiva. He forgets his true nature and identifies with the finite gross and subtle bodies and lives as a finite creature, helpless, hopeless, and sorrowful. He is a slave to his conditionings and therefore Maya Das. So that is the difference between Mayapati and Maya Das. The sun reflects in a bucket of water and assumes a small identity as the reflection in the water. The reflection is conditioned by the size of the bucket and the state of the water. If the reflection forgets its true nature of infinite light, it would feel bound by the bucket of water. If it realizes that it is light alone, then it plays around in the water unaffected. Similarly, the truth reflected in the bucket of the gross body and the waters of the subtle body is called Jiva. Brahma Pratibambaha Jivaha. I think we should remember this word, Pada. Brahma Pratibimbaha Jivaha. He forgets his true nature and thinks he is the body. Thereafter, he thinks of every other object and being as different from himself, and Ishvara to be someone far away from him. This vision, born of ignorance, is so deeply rooted that even if told that he is not finite, he does not accept it. This false identification and notion of difference has been with him birth after birth. In fact, it is the cause of the endless births that he goes through. Man desires to be complete, be happy, and exist forever. He therefore runs after that which he thinks will make him happy. Actions give results which, when enjoyed or suffered, cause impressions which again give rise to desires. Thus continues the cycle of birth and death. This would end only if we realized that I am what I seek. Knowing myself to be infinite, existence bliss would liberate me from the cycle of transmigration. Therefore, we are advised not to accept this ignorance-born difference between the Jiva and Ishvara and realize their essential identity. This is explained through the famous Mahavakya Tattvamasi. I think I should repeat, right? With the example. I will repeat once again. I hope the difference between Mayapati and Mayadas is clear, right? I will repeat with the example.
I think it is worth doing that one more time. The
Okay.
previous two paras as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I repeat with the Tatparya. The reflection of Brahman, which identifies itself with the gross body, is called the Jiva. This Jiva, by nature, takes Ishvara to be different from himself or herself. The self conditioned by ignorance, Maya, is called Ishvara. So long as the notion that the Jiva and Ishvara are different remains, which is due to the difference in the conditioning, till then there is no redemption from samsara, which is of the form of repeated birth, death, etc. Due to that reason, the notion that the Jiva is different from Ishvara should not be accepted. May I request Mrinalji to continue if she's there? Oh, she's not there. Okay. Dr. Mara, could you please help in reading?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. I can read for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. You can read from the Brahman, the truth.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. Now, Brahman, the truth is infinite. It wields its inherent creative power. You can hear me, right? Okay. Brahman, the truth is infinite. It wields its inherent creative power, the total conditioning, Maya, to appear as the world of things and beings. The truth, with the conditioning of Maya, is called Ishvara. He is the creator, sustainer, and destroyer of the world. He is all powerful, Sarva Shaktiman, all knowledgeable, Sarvajnaha, and all pervading, Sarva Vyapi, as he is both the material and efficient cause of the world. Ishvara always knows his true nature and does not get overpowered by Maya. He remains in full control of it and is thus called Mayapati. His Maya is predominantly sattvic and therefore does not bind. So, when one takes refuge in him, we get liberated from Maya. Mameva ye prapatyante mayam etam tarantite. The same infinite truth, when wielding the individual conditioning, again, the same infinite truth, when wielding the individual conditioning, avidya, is called jiva avidya, being predominantly tamasic and of nature of ignorance. It binds the jiva, he forgets.
Sorry, Dr. Mara, there is a full stop there. Jiva and then avidya is, right?
Oh, I see. Okay, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So
There's a
the
gap.
same infinite, yeah, right. The same infinite truth, when wielding the individual conditioning, avidya, is called jiva. Avidya being predominantly tamasic and of the nature of ignorance. It binds the jiva. Okay, so I'm sorry. Again, there is a full stop here. It binds the jiva. So avidya binds the jiva, and then he forgets his true nature and identifies with the finite, gross, and subtle bodies, and lives as a finite creature, helpless, hopeless, and sorrowful. He is a slave to his conditionings and therefore Maya Dasa. So he becomes a slave to his conditioning. The sun reflects in a bucket of water and assumes a small identity as the reflection in the water. The reflection is conditioned by the size of the bucket and state of the water. If the reflection forgets its true nature of infinite light, it would feel bound by the bucket of water. If it realizes that it is light alone, then it plays around in the water, unaffected. Similarly, the truth reflected in the bucket of the gross body and the waters of the subtle body is called Jiva. Brahma Pratibimbaha Jivaha. He forgets his true nature and thinks he is the body. Thereafter, he thinks of every other object and being as different from himself, and Ishvara to be someone far away from him. This vision, born of ignorance, is so deeply rooted. Again, this vision, born of ignorance, is so deeply rooted that even if told that he is not finite, he does not accept it. This false identification and notion of difference has been with him birth after birth. In fact, it is the cause of the endless births that he goes through. That example was clear, Dr. Brahmara, the sun reflecting the bucket of water. To me, I feel a little confused about it.
No, it is the infinite sun. If you take that as Brahma or Ishvara, that is reflected in different individual buckets, right?
Mm.
So that individual bucket, if the bucket per se, if you take considers the gross body, and the water in the bucket as the subtle body.
Mm.
So the reflection is there in
The Brahma
in
Pratibimba.
the pratibhimbam is there in each.
In
So
the
the
each
paradox
jiva.
and
Mm-hmm.
the paradox is that we are conditioned by this avidya, which is tamasic, which is so strong that
Mm-hmm.
we fail to see that the actual truth, that we are nothing but the infinite truth, nothing but Brahman, nothing
Mm-hmm.
but a reflection of Brahman.
Mm.
We conditioned ourselves by the individual bucket, by the waters in the bucket, and we think we are this, we are limited. We become
Okay.
Maya
Because they're
Das.
limited in the body itself.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm. Okay. All right. I think I'll finish reading this, then we can
Right.
further do Manana. For man desires to be complete, be happy, and exist forever. He therefore runs after that which he thinks will make him happy. So the man desired to be complete, be happy, and exist forever. He therefore runs after that which he thinks will make him happy. Actions give results which, when enjoyed or suffered, cause impressions, which again give rise to the desires. Thus continues the cycle of birth and death. So this is like these three lines are like that's what the helps. This would end only if we realized that I am what I seek, knowing myself to be infinite existence, bliss, would liberate me from the cycle of transmigration. So until then, we have this dwell in this samsara. Therefore, we are advised not to accept this ignorance born difference between the jiva and Ishvara and realize their essential identity. This is explained through the famous Mahavakya Tattvamasi. So we have time, no, 8 or 9. I think, do you want me to go further read this? About the jiva? an inquiry into the statement that thou art.
Maybe we can do that tomorrow, right?
Okay, that's fine.
We can
Yeah,
break
I
for
think
Manana.
right. This itself like a lot to discuss. Anyway, Maya Pati and Maya Dasa, and I want to be a little bit clear. I do understand the Jiva and Ishvara, right? But then the Ishvara is what they described as Sarva Sarva Shaktiman, Sarvajna, Sarvavyapi, and we are supposed to have the knowledge about what is Jiva, what is Ishvara, right? The identity, so that we are not separating ourselves. That's different from us. Is that right? There was somewhere we read that part in the first paragraph, I think.
See the difference between Ishvara and Jiva.
Mm.
Both are conditioned by a conditioning. Ishvara is conditioned by Maya, which he is in control of.
Right. That's a
The
sattvic
Maya
aspect.
is sattvic. It's sattvic, therefore it's not binding.
Mm.
He is the sustainer, creator, sustainer, and destroyer. He is in control of everything.
Right.
The truth, the infinite truth, Brahman, creates it. He uses this Maya as an upadhi to create this illusion of the whole world.
Mhm.
So that is on one aspect. Now Jiva is conditioned by individual avidya. Now this is tamasic in nature and therefore is binding.
Yeah.
Now why is it tamasic?
Yeah, that was my question also. Like, okay, I know this is the sattvic, and then we are having the difference between this Mayapati and Maya Dasa. That is the tamasic part.
Mm.
And the nature of the ignorance. That yeah, I'm not sure why is it predominantly tamasic. Avidya being predominantly tamasic and of nature of the ignorance, it binds the jiva. You just have to take it as it is, right?
Yeah, we need to take it
But
as it is.
Right.
is it because of the endless birth he was having that it becomes tamasic? Like, but initially also it must be tamasic only. Yeah, it's a vicious cycle, I think. The birth which he had earlier, so because of that, that ignorance was there, and it is so deeply, like, so deep rooted that it uh, it is of that nature. I don't know, like it must have started from somewhere. Initially
Avidya is
also it was
beginningless, right? So
yeah.
avidya is like the karana sharira. If you look at the definition of karana sharira, it is anirvachya avidya
Nirvachya anidya
yeah, nirvikalpaka rupam and sharira dvayasya karana matram. That is how the individual jiva is born in the first place, right?
Yeah. Sorry, Anirvachya Anadi Avidya.
Anadi, yeah. Anirvachya
Swaswarupa
anadi avidya.
Jnana. That is also
Yeah.
Swaswarupa Jnana.
Swaswarupa jnana, which is
Right.
true.
Yeah.
So when you look at that anadi, that avidya, which is anadi, which is beginningless,
Mm-hmm.
and in the later part of this paragraph, he describes it is described how this from avidya desires happen, from desires actions, and actions lead to karma, and all of this continues as a cycle. Because see, our true nature is actually happiness and bliss, infinite bliss, consciousness, and knowledge, Satchidananda Rupa. But not knowing that, we, in order to seek happiness, we go outwardly. We desire, we do all kinds of actions seeking happiness. So
Mhm.
the path to liberation is to realize that we are what we seek. We are complete in ourselves. We are happiness. We are bliss. So that
So when we are
knowledge,
looking at this object,
right?
basically what happens, all this object, we think um, that gives happiness. That's how we think as a human being, right? I mean, that's what separates us from this Ishvara.
Yeah.
Mm. So we kind of dwell on all this external stuff.
Mm.
Going back one more, the question that I had, in terms of, I know the truth perverts, because of its highest subtlety, it perverts everything. One, and then the second thing is, as you said, the Brahmashraya Maya. So he heals the, he has the Dubadi or conditioning with Maya, and that is called Ishvara, right? That appeared to the, where is that? We kind of go back. Yeah, the truth with conditioning of Maya is called Ishvara. So that is what. So in other words, the Brahman is nothing but Ishvara, right? But we cannot differentiate
Yeah,
in that
Brahman,
term.
Brahman with the
Mm,
conditioning of Maya is Ishvara.
right.
As in,
But
he's,
he's still called Sarva Saktiman, Sarva
yeah, which is
Sarvajnaga,
true.
Sarva Vyapi,
Because Maya
because
ultimately is his own power, no?
right, right. So that is why I wanted to know, we are not going to differentiating in terms of Ishvara and Brahman. I know there is little bit difference, but because of that Maya part.
In the
So
example of this bucket of water, the reflection is conditioned by the size of the bucket and state of water. What is the what things are being compared with the size and the state means what, like, is it
because if it is smaller bucket, the sun is going to look
small?
smaller. The
And
state of
what
water
about
is,
the
if it's a
state?
clear water versus like muddy water, the reflection would be very clear if the water is clear. But whereas it's muddy, then you would not have that clear sun reflection. So that, I think
It
that's
would
what
be
you,
dull. Okay, okay, okay.
yeah.
Right, right. Thank you.
Here also comes the aspect of antakarna shuddhi and all the sadhana that requires, where we where the aim is to develop antakarna shuddhi and antakarna naischalya.
Mm, right.
Extrapolating this bucket of water example,
Water be clean. Yeah.
why
Mm-hmm.
why are we working towards getting out of raga dvesha, being a karma yogi, is so that this water that in the bucket gets purified. And in that purified bucket of water, the reflection of the sun is the Brahma Pratibhimbam is clear, number one. And
Yeah.
why do we need Antakarna Naischalya? Why is Dhyana required? Nididhyasana required? If the waters are constantly moving, they're changing, and they're
Chanchala. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
the bimbam, Pratibhimbam also keeps fluctuating. It's not
Fluctuate.
still. So therefore
Mm.
you require both Antakarna Shuddhi as well as
And then
Antakarna
next,
Naischalya.
yeah.
to then
Yeah, again,
realize.
like you said, Dr. Brahmaran, that the other paragraph after that example, uh, the man desires to be complete, be happy, and exist forever. He therefore runs after that which he thinks will make him happy. So, the action give results which, when enjoyed or suffered, cause impressions, which again give rise to desires. Thus continues cycle of birth and death. That's what you were saying, and then that's a that part is very important for us, like ragadvesha, and how it gives on going on to the samsara, and then what we need to do in terms of realizing it.
Yeah. Here, I
Mm,
would just like to add one more that Guruji recently in
mm,
you had mentioned in one of the satsangs in the ashram. He
mm,
talked of darpana. In fact, in Dakshinamurti Stotram, this was one of the questions asked. Vishwam
mm,
darpana drishyamana nagari tulyan targatam nijam. So, when you look at the world as looking at as looking into a mirror, and you look at everything that is there in the world as a reflection in the mirror, nothing sticks to the mirror, isn't it? The
no.
reflection doesn't stick to the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
as against a photograph. If you take a
Mm,
photograph, everything sticks. The photograph is like grossified.
right.
So he says, if you consider everything as just like a reflection in the mirror, you can play around in the world and nothing will bind you. Whereas if
Mm,
you start taking photographs of everything, it will remain. And it is like this karma, it binds you. You're getting into you're stuck in samsara,
right.
in countless
That's a
births and
nice,
deaths. So
nice.
it is
Mm,
our attitude of how we take things, how our experiences, events, situations, our thoughts, all of this. Are we looking at as if as a reflection in the mirror, or are we taking a photograph each time and getting bound in the samsara?
mm-hmm. Yeah, that
If it's a
makes sense. That
photograph, it
the
is like
impression,
karma. Yeah,
yeah,
you're getting bound by the karma.
the action that you're doing, right? That action binds.
Action and the attitude also.
Yeah.
Basically, it is,
Mm,
see, without doing action, we cannot remain, isn't it? That's what even
true.
Krishna says. He says, even I do not remain without doing any action.
Mm.
Everybody, after having taken birth, action is inevitable.
But
But
remember
what is,
that with
yeah,
mirror it doesn't bind, whereas the photograph where the picture
binds.
binds. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. So when we bind ourselves with the objects, then becomes more problem.
More problem. See, the more we are seeking happiness outside of us,
Yeah.
it is like we are doing, taking photographs every time.
Yeah. Every time. Yeah.
And we're not happy with every photograph. So we continue taking photographs
Mm.
because it doesn't give us that endless joy. It gives
Mm-hmm.
us limited joy, little bit of happiness every time we take a photograph. But no, the infinite joy, infinite bliss is in that
Yeah.
looking at ourselves as that into that mirror. In fact, even going beyond that mirror, understanding that we are nothing but Brahman himself.
Mm. Darpan, what is the real meaning on
Darpana
darpan?
is a mirror. Mirror.
Mirror. Oh, I see. Okay. And then this last sentence, that therefore we are advised not to accept this ignorance born difference between the Jiva and Ishvara and realize their essential identity. This is explained through, okay, oh, it's coming up,
Yeah.
Jiva and Ishvara. Okay, okay, good.
So basically, there is
Prabhat.
a difference between Ishvara and Jiva. It is only the Upadhi which is causing the difference.
Mm,
Upadhi is the avidya. So therefore, with the sword of knowledge, we slash out that avidya realizing the unity between Jiva and Ishvara.
Mm.
Tattva is that is what is that
That.
Jiva.
Mm-hmm.
That state.
Mm. So now we'll go on to doing that tomorrow. That would you? Yeah, 8:25 already.
Yeah. I just wanted to share, yesterday you were asking about the ashram and all that, right? It was
Right.
so coincidental, you will not believe. Guess
Mm.
who was my roommate? We were Sumaji
Mm.
and I. We were roommates in the ashram for
Wow.
the 5-day advanced course. Such
Wow.
a coincidence.
Yeah, that's nice.
Although we
Yeah.
met briefly in person, a couple of times earlier, this time we
Mm.
actually had this association. Although it was in silence. The first day, of course, we were able to talk. The
Mm-mm.
remaining 4 days, we were in silence. But
That's good for you. Mm.
yeah, lovely soul that I could actually, spend physical time with.
It's very nice.
Yeah,
So it's maybe next time we'll all plan that way. We can do that
right.
advanced course real
Course
nicely.
together.
Together.
It'll be
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah, it'd be nice.
It was a great blessing for me also to be with Dr. Brahmara.
Oh,
To
Suma, be
actually,
back. Yeah,
yeah,
we were
I'm back.
wondering what happened. We haven't heard from you. That's very nice that you were there. Okay, good. Yeah.
I was initially I was listening to YouTube in January, December, and all that. February, I went home. Yeah,
That's nice. So you're all refreshed and with silent course. You and Dr. Brahmara and Suresh Ji and I don't know who else are all gone, but we were reading Tattva both so far, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, it's nice. Okay.
Shall I play Maya Panchakam, Brahmaraji?
We can, do the Shanti part and then play Maya Panchakam. Huh?
Okay. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Tat Sat Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu.
निरुपमनित्यनिरंशकेऽप्यखण्डे मयि चिति सर्वविकल्पनादिशून्ये घटयति जगदीश जीवभेदम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया श्रुतिशतनिगमान्तशोधकानपि अहधनादिनिदर्शनेन सद्यः कलुषयति चतुष्पदाद्यभिन्ना न घटितघटना पडीयसी माया सुखचिदखण्डविबोधमद्वितीयम् वियदनलादिविनिर्मित्ते नियोज्य भ्रमयति भवसागरे नितान्तम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया अपगतगुणवर्णजातिभेदे सुखचितिविप्रविलाद्यहङ्कृतिं च स्फुटयति सुतदारकेह मोहम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया विधिहरिहरविभेदमप्यखण्डे बत विरचय्य बुधानपि प्रकामम् भ्रमयति हरिहरविभेदभावान् घटितघटना पटीयसी माया स्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया